Hello everyone, welcome back to Cook, Create, Read. My name is Terry and this is my channel where I waffle on not very coherently about books. It's currently that time in between Christmas and New Year, so I hope you've all had a really lovely Christmas if you celebrate. And if you don't celebrate, I hope you've had some time with your loved ones or maybe just some quality time to yourself. That would be lovely. So it's coming up for New Year. I am working in between from Monday to Wednesday, which is New Year's Eve, and I don't think I'm going to be able to finish any more books this year. I'm currently very close to the end of one, which I am counting in this pile of books I have next to me as books that I have read this year. So I thought today would be a good time for me to go through all the books I've read and tell you about how I felt about all those books. So it hasn't been the best year for me, reading wise or otherwise. I have read 31 books this year, which I originally set my Goodreads challenge target at 12 books, and I reached that really quickly. So I upped it to 30 books, thought I would challenge myself, upped it to 30 books and only just managed to complete that. I have realised this year, it's taken me 53 years to get here, but I have realised that if work is stressful for me, I will not read, which seems counterintuitive because to me, I think of reading as a way of relieving my stress and escaping from whatever hassles are going on outside of reading. But it appears that's not the case. And there were at least 3 months this year when I did not read a single thing, which is very distressing to me. I am planning on working on that next year, and I really want to try and make sure that I read something every day. What did work for me this year was I got a Kindle, I think in around April maybe, and I actually really found that having 2 books on the go really helped me. So I would have like a physical book that I read during the day, and then when I went to bed at night, I don't find it comfortable to read a physical book in bed at night. I just don't find it very comfortable at all. Can't, get comfy. But I found that reading my Kindle was very doable, and that helped me to finish quite a few more books, I think. So I started to try and make sure that I read for at least half an hour before I went to bed. But obviously that didn't carry on throughout the whole year. But it is something that I am going to try and do next year as well. Just, hopefully that will help me boost my reading numbers. Not that it's about numbers at all whatsoever, but I have got so many books on my TBR shelf, like so many physical books that I have been collecting over the years. Like I say, I'm 53, about to be 54 in a few days' time. It's my birthday coming up. So, I've been collecting books for a really long time, and I have a lot of books that I would like to read. And if I was only to read 30 books a year, it would take me, I don't know, I think I've got about 800, the dog's here. I think I've got about 800 unread books. Here she is. Who's Chilly? Hey Chilly, want to say hello? Ooh, good girl. So I don't know, what's 800 divided by 30? I've no idea, but it's a lot, and I don't know that I will live that long. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about the 31 books that I did read this year. So let's get started. Where are you going to go? Okay, so she's just sitting here. She may pop her head up, she may not, she may knock the camera over, she may not, who knows. Okay, the first book I read this year was All the Colours of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. I've spoken about this more in my best books of the year video, which I will link. Really enjoyed this book. This is the first book I read this year, obviously, I just told you that. And I gave it 5 stars, but my husband very kindly bought me this for Christmas without any kind of hint whatsoever. And so I made it a point to read it as the first book of the year, and I really, really loved it, which is good because I do like to read a 5-star book at the beginning of the year. It kind of hopefully sets the tone for the rest of the year. I'm a bit superstitious about it, but this year it definitely paid off. Really loved it. Highly recommend if you like a literary type thriller with a bit more depth to it and characters that stay with you forever. Really loved this. Next up, I read Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. There goes the dog. This is an author by author for me. I think I've loved all her books so far. I think I've read them all and I've just loved them. This one is not my favourite, but it's not my least favourite. My least favourite is the one that she did last year or the year before, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. That one, I really still did enjoy it, but it was just a bit, just a little bit having to suspend belief for me. But this one was good, really enjoyed it. Not my favourite book of the year, but very much enjoyed it. This is basically about a woman whose husband is responsible for taking some people hostage in central London, and she can't understand why this is happening, what her husband is up to, and it's a really fascinating look at the characters in this book, and very much enjoyed it. So highly recommend if you like a policey, procedurally thriller type book that will keep you guessing. Then I read None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I very much enjoy her books as well. I find them quite light, easy to read books for when I am in a bit of a slump and just want something that I know is going to grab me and keep me engaged. What is this one about? Oh yeah, this is about a woman who kind of becomes obsessed with another woman and tries to, like, you know, work her way into her life, and things take a bit of an eerie turn for the worse. I can't really remember a whole lot about it, but I know that I enjoyed it when I was reading it. I think I gave this around 3.5 stars, and I definitely, she's brought out a couple more since then, which I haven't read yet, and I need to get to them because I do love all her books, and yeah, so we'll definitely be reading on with this author. Then I read We Begin at the End by Chris Whitaker. I bought this after I finished All the Colours of the Dark because I loved it so much, and then I read this one and I loved it as well. I think he just has a way of writing characters that really resonates with me. I know not everybody loves his books, but for whatever reason I really do. This one's about a group of friends who kind of all went to school together, and then when they were young, one of them killed someone. And then it's how that affects the rest of the lives of the other people around him. And he later comes out of prison, and then it's about how that kind of affects the community as well. I really enjoyed this. Again, you know, his characters I just find so well written and well-rounded people. Flawed, absolutely, you know, they're not perfect people, but the way he writes just strikes a chord with me. And I think I've got 2 of his other books, Tall Bones, which is the first one he wrote, and something else which I can't remember. Does this tell me what it's called? Probably not. No, can't remember what the other one's called, but I'm definitely going to be reading more of his books. Then I did my first reading vlog, which I will try and link if I can. And I read 3 books with similar covers. They all have doors on the covers. The first one I read was The Echoes by Evie Wyld. This was the first book I've read by this author, but I know people absolutely love her on YouTube and elsewhere in the world. This book is about a man who dies and he becomes a ghost, and he's kind of watching his girlfriend go about her life, which sounds a little bit creepy, and to be honest, it is a little bit creepy in some ways. But this was a great story, really enjoyed it, and will definitely be reading more of her books. I think I might say that a lot in this video, so sorry for repeating myself. These books are very dusty. Next up, I read in the same reading vlog, I read Stoneyard Devotional by Charlotte Wood. I was hoping to really love this book. I read her other book, The Natural Way of Things, which I absolutely loved. And this one, I did enjoy it, but not as much as the first one that I read. This is about a woman who goes back to her old hometown, I think. But she actually goes to stay in like a convent with some nuns, which I found fascinating because I went to I went to a convent school for my primary school. I was taught by German nuns and they were horrible. So I found that aspect of this really interesting. And there's a whole kind of friendship dynamic in here. An old friend of hers also comes to stay at this convent place. And I thought it was really interesting. I didn't love it, not the best book I've ever read. Not my favourite book of hers. I've only read 2 of hers so far, but definitely didn't put me off reading more from her. And yeah, very much enjoyed it. And then the third book in that little reading vlog was The Safekeep by Yael van der Wouden. I think, did this win the Women's Prize for Fiction? It won something. I'll put it up on the screen. And I really enjoyed this one actually. This is it set in Holland? And I think it's set in Holland or some European country. And it's about a group, like brothers and sisters and their other halves, and how they come to find themselves. And it's about waking up to who you really are, discovering yourself, and yeah, I thought this was really well written. I think it's well deserving of the prize that it won, that I can't remember. Again, I know that I enjoyed it. I remember the mood and the feel of the book, but I can't remember the details of the story. But yeah, I know I enjoyed it. This is a good video, isn't it? I can't remember what this book is about, but I loved it. Next up, we have The Wedding People by Alison Espach. I spoke about this in my favourite books of the year video. Really, really enjoyed this one. I'm not going to bang on about it here, but I really enjoyed it. I know not everybody does, but I found this to be like a really interesting look at the characters in the book, and I think that there is definite character growth in here, and it deals with a very serious topic in a kind of light-hearted way without making fun of it, but you know, not taking itself too seriously, but at the same time acknowledging that it's a serious topic. I don't want to spoil anything, so I don't really want to say too much to that, so sorry if that's a bit cryptic, but highly recommend it. And yeah, I very much enjoyed this one. Next, we have one that I read on my Kindle. This must be when I bought my Kindle. So this was around May, June time, I think. I read Has Anyone Seen Charlotte Salter by Nikki French. This took me forever to read, and I don't know why, because it wasn't a bad book. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. I was just in a massive reading slump. Work was really stressful around April, May time, and I just was not in the mood for reading. But when I did eventually finish this book, it actually reminded me of that film. Oh God, what is that film called? Oh, the one with the Irish bloke who's dancing around the house naked to murder on the dance floor at the end. I will put the name up here. But the feel of the book kind of reminded me of the feel of that film. Although it's nothing, the storyline is nothing like that at all. So I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this is a thriller, a mystery thriller, crime thriller about a family, mainly a young girl whose mother goes missing, and then it's about her and the rest of the family trying to solve that mystery. And it spans like from the time that it happened into many, many, many years later when their father has dementia. So it is actually a really interesting book. Nikki French is a husband and wife, I think, duo authorship thing, and they write really well. I've read other books by them that I've really enjoyed. And I think if I'd read this book at any other time, I would have really enjoyed it. And that's not to say I didn't enjoy it, because by the time that I got to actually finish it, I did really enjoy it. It's just the first half of the book took me forever. No fault of the book itself. All, I will say, on me, but it's not on me. It's all on my work shenanigans. So that was Has Anyone Seen Charlotte Salter by Nikki French? Recommend, just be in the right mood for it, I guess. Then I read Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. This is another one that is on my top books of the year video, so I will direct you to that if you want a bit more information. But this is set in the Antarctic, an island in the Antarctic Circle, and it's pretty desolate, grim, isolated, cold, brilliant. Loved it. Then we have Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This I did not like. I have read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I absolutely loved that book. It was one of my favourite books of whatever year I read that in. Then I read Daisy Jones and the Six, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. Just didn't really quite gel for me. Then I tried to read Malibu Rising, and I couldn't get past the first couple of chapters. I just found it vomit-inducing. I really wanted to read this one because of the space element, and the space element is the one aspect that I really, really liked in this book. I also liked the relationship between the two main characters, whose names escape me. Who are they? Joan, who is insufferable, Little Miss Perfect, could not bear the woman. But I did like her relationship with the other woman, Vanessa. I think it was Vanessa. I very much liked their kind of dynamic. I could not stand Joan. She was just... I can't imagine having someone like her as a friend. Little Miss Perfect, never did anything wrong. You have to do the right thing all the time. Just couldn't bear her. And I did not like the dialogue in here. I don't think Taylor, this is just my opinion, obviously I am not a writer, never want to be a writer, you know, just putting that out there. But I don't think Taylor Jenkins Reid can write dialogue. It felt really stilted, very unnatural. People don't talk the way they talk in this book. And mainly it's probably because of Joan and her Little Miss Perfect ways. But I just didn't like it, and I will not be reading anything else by this author. Very sad, because I really love the cover. And this is the version that I bought in America when I was on holiday. So I am really sad that I don't like this book. But not every book is for every person. And this one is not for me. Next up, I read Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I read this on my Kindle. I love Alice Feeney's books. I've read a few of hers before. Rock, Paper, Scissors. At least one other. Sometimes I Lie. There might be another one that I've read of hers as well. Really like them. There's always a twist in the middle, which I generally don't see coming. This one, Beautiful Ugly, I did see the twist. And but having said that, I still really enjoyed it. I really love the setting, set in this like remote Scottish island. And it follows the story of like a struggling author whose agent says, oh, well, I know this, I've got this cabin, or I know somebody's cabin in the middle of nowhere where, you know, this other famous author went to write, and why don't you go there? She packs him off to this island, and then all kinds of shenanigans ensue. It's really creepy there. The people are weird. And yeah, it's a really good story. Very much enjoyed it, and I will definitely be reading more of hers. I think she's got a new one coming out in 2026, which I will definitely be getting my hands on. Then I discovered a YouTuber called The Pastel Bookshelf, who I'm sure you probably all know already. And she reviews a lot of thriller books and horror books. And she got me onto this series by Chris Carter. The first one in the series is called The Crucifix Killer. And this is a whole series. I think there's like I don't know, 13 or 14 books in the series, and it follows this detective and his sidekick who solve these like truly gruesome, violent crimes in LA. I was really interested because we were going to LA on our road trip, and I do like to read about places that I've been to or am going to. I read this after we came back from our holiday actually, but I love a serial killer thriller and I love a detective series, and so this sounded like it was right up my street, and I was right. These are pretty gruesome books. I think I've read 2 so far. Have I only read 2? Yeah, I think I've only read 2 so far, but I really am enjoying this series, and I'm definitely going to be carrying on. This one is the beginning, obviously, and it follows this detective called, why can I not remember names? What's his name? Robert Hunter, and his sidekick called Garcia, who's like this new green cop who comes in to work with him. And yeah, I really loved it. It's, you know, what it says on the tin. If you like serial killer books, police detectives, you're going to love this book. There's nothing not to like. Next up, I read The Women by Kristin Hannah at the instigation of my daughter, who pushed this upon me. This is another one that's in my top reads of the year video, and loved it. Loved the friendship, the dynamics between the people. It's very traumatic. Some of it is quite graphic, but if you've got the stomach for it, absolutely highly recommend this. And contrary to what I used to believe, I will definitely be reading more from Kristin Hannah. I used to think that she may still be, a little bit too twee. God, look how red my face is. I don't know what that's all about. I used to think that she was a bit too twee and schmaltzy for me. I like a bit of grimness and darkness in my books, and I didn't think that Kristin Hannah wrote that type of book. There is absolutely depth to this book, The Women, and you know, it is a bit traumatic, and the storyline itself is heart-wrenching, and so I definitely will give her another go. I've said in the other video, I have started reading The Nightingale, but I put it down because I'm just not in the mood. I'm sure it's not the book, I'm sure it's me. So I will revisit that in the new year and see where that takes me with Kristin Hannah. Then I got on to my Booker Prize long list efforts. My aim was to read all the books on the long list. I did not succeed in that. I did not do a video about it. I fell off the YouTube wagon at that point as well for some reason. But anyway, these are the ones that I did manage to read. I did read The Land in Winter by Andrew Miller. I annotated this, well, not annotated, but like marked a load of passages quite heavily. I really enjoyed this one. I wasn't expecting to. I don't read a lot of books by male authors, not for any particular reason. I just don't seem to gel with those books. I don't know why. And that's probably a very sweeping statement to make. So I wasn't really expecting to like this one, but I did. I really enjoyed it. So this book is set in, it's like, is it over Christmas? Or it's certainly in the winter in December 1962 in England, and it's set during a time of this awful storm, this horrible winter storm that descends upon this town. And it's about these two different couples who, the wives kind of get on with each other, but the husbands don't. The one husband can't stand the other one. And it's just about what happens during this storm. I found I was very quickly pulled into this story. It's quite a chunky book. How many pages? No, it's under 400 pages, so it's not the most chunky. But I found the writing to be really easy to read, quite kind of conversational, and yeah, I just really enjoyed this book. I don't think a whole lot happens. I can't really remember vividly. what happens, but I clearly very much enjoyed tabbing the pages. And I remember it was bleak. I remember reading it in the summer. And yeah, I enjoyed. Don't know what else I can say about that one. Then I read Endling by Maria Riva. This one is about a woman in Ukraine. There's a war going on. It's actually set before this war that we all know about on the news, but actually that war was rumbling for a really long time before it became big news. And this woman, our main character, is obsessed with snails, and she makes it her kind of purpose in life to save the snails from extinction before the war kicks off for real, I guess, in a way. This one started off really good for me. You can see I started annotating quite heavily, but then it tailed off, and if I'm honest, I don't think I understood the story. It kind of just went in ways that I wasn't really following. I am sure it's me, 100%, it's my brain, but I just didn't get this book. I had really high hopes, and I really loved the bits about the snails, but the bits about the snails are very small. And I feel it was missold to me about snails, and it's not really about snails, it's about the war. I do love the cover. I think it's very cute. And I wish I liked this book more, but I didn't really enjoy it. And I don't think I would read any more from this author. Don't know if it was shortlisted. I think it might have been shortlisted in the end, but it didn't win. Then I took a break from the Booker Prize long list. Actually, I was probably reading Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier on my Kindle while I was reading these during the day. And Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier, this was another one that was recommended by the Pastel Bookshelf. What's her name? Kira? Never mind, I don't know what her name is, I can't remember, that's terrible. Anyway, my name's Terry, by the way. So Jar of Hearts, yeah, this was like a thriller where the killer comes back after a while, I think, or somebody else takes up the mantle of this killer. And yeah, I can't really remember this one. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. All I remember is a jar of hearts, sweets, that's on the girl's dressing table at some point in the book. Yeah, I can't remember a lot about this book, but I read it. Then I read Flesh by David Saleh. This one, I believe, was the winner. Sorry, just sorting out my pile. I believe this one won the Booker Prize. I will verify that information. And I did enjoy this one, actually. I didn't think I was going to. At the beginning, I didn't like the writing. I didn't like the kind of perspective that the main character has on women. But I came round to the story in the end, and I did enjoy it. Am I glad it won? I can't really say, because I didn't read all of the books, all of the shortlisted books, but of the books I did read, this was probably my... Maybe I'll rate them for you in a second once I've finished going through all these. Probably my third or fourth favourite of the ones that I did read. But definitely a good story, and I would recommend if you are interested in this. Oh, what is it about? I don't even know, I can't remember. God, my brain. So this is about a young lad who lives with his mother in Hungary, and it's about him growing up. He develops a relationship with the neighbour across the corridor, a sexual relationship with, she's a much older woman, and he moves on, and that's basically what it's about. It's about this man finding himself, I guess, and that's probably definitely not my area of comfort reading. My comfort reading is serial killers. So this was definitely out of my comfort zone, but you know, I enjoyed it, and yeah, give it a go. Then I read Love Forms by Claire Adam, which I spoke about in my top books of the year video. Really loved this book. This is the one that I wanted to win, but I had a feeling that it wouldn't win. I actually thought Endling was going to win the book prize, but that didn't win either, thank goodness. Only because it was my least favourite of them all, so I thought, oh, that probably means it's going to win. So Love Forms by Claire Adam is about a woman who, when she's 15 or 16, I think, has a baby. She's forced to give it up for adoption, and then basically the rest of her life she spends trying to find, not necessarily actively trying to find, but she spends like a lot of her time thinking about this baby that she gave up. And then with the dawn of the internet, she kind of puts herself out there as being willing to be found, and she starts kind of receiving inquiries from people who think they may be her daughter. It was a very moving story. I very much enjoyed it, and I really wanted it to win. But, you know, like I say, I knew it wouldn't because me loving it is a good sign that it's not going to win the prize, unfortunately. So, yep, no, I've got one more. I'll do that one now, actually. The last Booker Prize nominated long list book, is that a sentence? That's not a sentence, but anyway, was The South by Tash Orr. And I actually really enjoyed this one as well. Although I did enjoy it, I loved the story, but it was very confusing, and the timelines seemed to be all over the place. Like I'm here for a dual timeline, or, you know, multiple timelines or whatever. But with this one, it just seemed to jump around with no kind of context, and I didn't know where we were most of the time. So I found it a bit hard to follow. But the actual storyline I really enjoyed. I loved the relationship between the two boys, whose names I cannot remember, of course. Jay and... who's the other one? Jay and... oh, I don't know how to say it. Schwan? I don't know. But I really enjoyed their relationship. I liked the family dynamics. I liked the setting, the atmosphere of the setting was very real, and, you know, it's very strong sense of place in here. Yeah, I did enjoy this book. Don't think I fully grasped exactly what the author was trying to say, and definitely missed a bit in the whole timeline perspective thing, but very much enjoyed it. So very quickly, I will just put my Booker Prize long list books in order, as I didn't do the video that I did promise I was going to do. So least favourite is The Endling by Maria Raver. Very much did not enjoy that one. Then I would say probably Flesh by David Zale. I enjoyed it and was not, you know, not my comfort zone, but very much enjoyed it. Then I would say The South by Tash Orr, which I very much enjoyed and just didn't quite get it. Then The Land in Winter by Andrew Miller, which I loved, and loved the setting, loved the characters, loved the writing. And then my favourite of the the 5 that I read was Love Forms by Claire Adam. Absolutely love this book, and will be pushing on everybody that I meet. And I have already given it to someone at work who's from Trinidad, and I thought she would very much enjoy the story. I don't think she's read it yet though. Petra, if you're watching, not that you are. Get reading, woman. Okay, next up I read Funny Story by Emily Henry. Now, I kind of compare Emily Henry, maybe not fairly, I don't know, to Taylor Jenkins Reid. I am not a big romance reader, but every now and then I like to read one just to kind of give me a break from the serial killer darkness and grimness. And Emily Henry I've discovered recently probably through Natasha, my daughter, and I do quite enjoy her books. And this one, Funny Story, I very much enjoyed, and I think the way that Emily Henry writes dialogue between her characters could, what am I trying to say? Taylor Jenkins Reid could learn a lot from the way Emily Henry writes her dialogue. Emily Henry, her characters are believable. The way they converse with each other is relatable, real, realistic, you know, just makes sense, the way they speak, unlike Taylor Jenkins Reid. But this is not a dissing on Taylor Jenkins Reid video. Funny story, I really enjoyed it. This, I think, is the one, I mean, they all kind of blend into each other, to be honest. Can't very clearly distinguish one from the other. Yes, I liked this book. It was fun. It was a nice light read, and I will read more of her books in the future. Next up, I read Margot's Got Money Troubles by Rufi Thorpe, and this one took me a while to get through actually, but I did enjoy it. It was an unusual story, something that I haven't really read about before. I didn't really, like, I'd heard of OnlyFans, but I didn't really know what it was. So this book opened my eyes to what OnlyFans is all about, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite an original story. I'd never really read anything like it before. I thought like the relationship between Margot and her father was very real. And yeah, I liked it. Then we went on a little, very short break to Croatia. It was the beginning of September, so I took part in Shorty September. I did actually do a vlog, which I have never published. Maybe I will. I might put that together and just put it up on the channel for prosperity's sake. So I read a few short books for Shorty September. The first one I read was Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. And actually it was really funny when I was reading this book, because we just arrived at this really lovely Airbnb in Croatia, and I was sitting outside by the pool reading this book. And if you don't know, this book is about a woman who's recently had a child, and she feels like she's turning into a dog, and something weird is going on and she's turning into a dog. And I was sitting reading this book, and all of a sudden there was a dog at the gate of the property and wanting to get in. And at first we were like, oh no, we don't want to let him in, we don't know, you know, anything about him. And then I think we went to bed, and we woke up the next morning and the dog was in the garden. He'd like jumped over the fence, which wasn't a very high fence, and he was gorgeous. He was a border collie, and it was just lovely. So we let him stay. He like went in and out and stuff, went back to his owners and in between. But it was just really weird, because this book is about a woman turning into a dog, and this strange dog turned up on our doorstep. This is a weird book, but I really enjoyed it. So this woman feels like she's turning into a dog, and then she meets up with some other people other mothers who she feels like she's seen them at night wandering around in a pack of dogs. It was very unusual, not something I'd ever kind of read like before, but highly recommend if you like a little bit of weird gal fiction. So that is Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. Then I read I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I talked about this in my Best Books of the Year video as well. There's 7 books in that video, and very much enjoyed this. This is like a kind of an old classic, really. Not that old, it's from 1995 I think. But it's a really, really good story about the strength of women and friendship and perseverance and success through adversity, and very much loved this and highly recommend to everybody. Then still on the Shorty September kick, I read Sandwich by Catherine Newman, another one in my favourite books of the year video. Really, really enjoyed this book. Absolutely loved it. This was like a warm, comforting hug of a book, and I just absolutely loved it. It follows a family who go to this same cabin, I think they own the cabin probably, on the beach every year, and there's like old secrets, but it's nothing, it's very heartwarming. There's nothing kind of grim in this book at all. It's a joyful book, and I loved it. The mum in the story is around my age, so she's going through similar things that I'm going through at the moment, and for those reasons I've just very much identified with her. But I think this book would appeal to lots of different people of lots of different ages, and highly recommend. I'll definitely be reading more of her books this year. If she's got more, I know she's written We All Want Impossible Things. I don't know if she's written anything else. So she's written We All Want Impossible Things, Catastrophic Happiness, Finding Joy in Childhood's Messy Years. That sounds like a non-fiction. And Waiting for Birdie, A Year of Frantic Tedium, Improbable Grace, and the Wild Magic of Growing a Family. So that also sounds like a non-fiction. So I think We All Want Impossible Things is her only other novel, which I'll definitely be reading this year. And maybe her other, they sound like memoirs or something. I might read those as well. Then the last book I read for Shorty September is Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. I love this cover. This is another one that I read because of a recommendation by the Pastel Bookshelf. And this one starts off as a really cutesy, everything's happy-go-lucky. This woman selling cupcakes and stuff at a market, and then she's befriended by this other girl, and things take a turn for the worse. I love this book. I think it's really clever. Absolutely, it goes in a way that I was not expecting, and highly recommend. Another short one, I read this in a day. And just really love this one. It was just a fun story to get through. Then we had a bit of another reading slump in kind of October and November, where things at work got very stressful again. But then towards the end of November, I started to come out of that, thank goodness, and I managed to read a few more books before the end of the year. First one being The Executioner by Chris Carter. So this is a surefire way, if I'm in a slump and there's any chance I'm going to get out of it, this is the type of book that will do it. So this is the second one in the Chris Carter series. More of the same, serial killers, detectives. Absolutely exactly what I was looking for. Loved it, and cannot wait to carry on with this series next year. I then was just very slowly trying to come out of this reading slump, and I decided to give Freida McFadden a go. I'd heard so much about her. I'd heard good things, bad things, awful things, great things. And The Intruder by Freida McFadden came up on the Kindle daily deal for 99p. So I thought, you know what, let me just give it a go. So I did, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. I was expecting it to be quite badly written, and I don't know why I feel bad saying that, I suppose. But I just kind of got the impression that she wasn't a very good writer. I think because she's so prolific, she writes so many books. I just think, how can you be a good writer and you write so much? And maybe as I go on reading her books, if I do, I suspect that they might all kind of have a similar theme, a similar trajectory. I don't know. I just think, maybe she is an amazing writer, and I don't know. But anyway, so The Intruder was a really good one. This one is about, there's a storm happening. There's a woman who lives on her own in a cabin in the middle of the woods. She's got a neighbour who lives like a 20-minute walk away, and he lives on his own. There's something a little bit off about him. And then her landlord lives also a bit of a way away, and there's something a bit off about him. And then just before the storm hits, she finds a young girl kind of camping out in her outdoor shed. And so she brings the girl in, and then she realizes, hang on a sec, this girl's covered in blood and she's got a knife and she will not let that knife go. What is going on here? Who have I brought into my house? So it's quite gripping, quite unexpected in a way. Yeah, actually, it is quite unexpected. I thought I'd figured it out, but I was wrong. So that's always good. I like it when I don't figure it out. So yep, I enjoyed this one and enjoyed it enough to go on to read another one of hers a bit later on. So far so good with Frida McFadden. Then I read The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak, I think is how you say his name. This was also on a 99p Kindle deal, and I liked this one, but there was something about it that I just didn't quite gel with. I wasn't 100% sure that I liked the way he wrote about women. I don't know if I was just being hypersensitive at that time, I don't know. But the story itself was good. There's like this mystery about this girl's wedding, this man's daughter's wedding. He's been estranged from his daughter for a few years, and she comes back into his life, and yeah, he finds out that some things are not as they seem, and it was good. I liked it, didn't love it, but I have got one of his actual physical books on my shelf, I think, the one with the pictures. I can't remember what it's called, but something about pictures. So I will definitely give that one a go. Then I read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and I enjoyed this one as well. I read this one because the film's coming out, and because it has Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried in it, I know that my husband will want to watch it. And I wanted to read the book before I saw the film, and I enjoyed it. I was not expecting much from this one, but it surprised me, and there was a twist. Although I did see the twist coming, I did guess this one, but still it was good, and I will read some more from her. Surprisingly, I don't know why I'm so surprised. I think, like I said before, it's just because she writes so many books. It feels like there's a new book every month, which obviously isn't the case, but yeah, I guess I'm just jealous, really. How does she get this brain that makes her able to write all these books? And I can't write a sentence. Anyway, that's another story. And then the final book of the year for me is Heart the Lover by Lily King. Now, I'm not actually completely finished this book yet. I will finish it today. Where am I? I've got that much left to go. I'll definitely finish it today, but I wanted to film this video while it was still light-ish out, although it's not anymore. What's the time? Oh, it's 4:45. So it's getting dark. But anyway, Heart the Lover by Lily King. I read Lovers and Writers by her, and I absolutely loved that book. It was one of my favourite books of the year. The year that I read it was probably 2 years ago, maybe. And I haven't read anything else by her, although I do have her short story collection upstairs, which I haven't read yet. Natasha actually asked for this for Christmas, so I bought it for her, and she read it yesterday in one sitting, and then she handed it straight over to me, and I started reading it today, and yeah, I'm nearly finished, so I've nearly read this in one day as well. I will finish it today. Really enjoying this so far. I think it's a 4-star read for me at the moment. I am just enthralled with the way this woman writes. I think she's just incredible. Like, her characters just feel real and meaningful. Like, they do things that you would kind of expect people, they behave in ways that people normally behave, not like Taylor Jenkins Reid. But so far I'm really loving this book, and I think it'll be a 4-star. I don't think it'll be a 5. Maybe it will, who knows. Can't even really tell you what it's about. It's about some university friends. The one thing I do that does grate on me a little bit is, like, are people really this? They're a bit pretentious. Like the boys that, God, I'm reading it and I can't remember her name. I call her Jordan, but that's not actually her real name. Can't think what her real name is. But anyway, she kind of befriends these 2 or 3 boys, and they are super pretentious. One of them in particular is just a knob. But I think that actually there are university students who are like this. I was never that type of, I mean, I didn't go to university till I was much older when I did my nursing, but oh God, I'm just going off on a tangent now. I am enjoying this book very much. I like the characters. They are infuriating. It's very sad at the moment, and I think it's going to break my heart within the next however many pages I have left, 20 or so, maybe about 50 pages left. And yeah, Lily King has not disappointed me, and I'm definitely will be reading some more of her books. So those are the 31 books that I have read this year. If you've read any of these books, please give me some comments down below. I'd love to hear what you thought of them. If you loved them, if you hated them, if you don't know what is wrong with me, why do I have such a problem with Taylor Jenkins Reid, please let me know. I would love to hear your comments and some feedback. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I would love to, you know, have you come along on this journey with me. Hopefully we will have some new and exciting things coming in the new year, some new vlogs, and yeah, we will see where we go in 2026. I have some plans and I would love to have you come along with me. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the year, and enjoy your New Year's Eve if you celebrate such a thing. I will stay up probably until midnight. We usually watch Jools Holland's Hootenanny on TV with some nibbles, and that will be the end of the year for me. So, Happy New Year. I hope that 2026 brings lots of good reading and lots of good things, and I will see you then. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.